Hello and welcome to the Design Make Play Show. I'm Sarah and I'm an illustrator and designer at Zen Maker Lab. So today we're going to talk about color theory and why it is so important in art, design, and real life. For example, what do you think about my outfit? Do you like the color scheme? I think I better refer you to a color theorist. I think you need some help. So let's get started. So what is color theory? Color theory is a set of rules and guidelines that helps us understand how color can be used in art and design. So the three categories we're going to talk about today is the color wheel, color harmony, and how can color be used and what does it mean? So let's start by talking about the color wheel here. Let's start by talking about primary colors. The primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. And these are the initial colors that we're always going to start with, and we can mix them together to create new colors. So the secondary colors would be orange, violet, and green. And these colors are created by mixing two of the complementary colors together. And lastly, we have tertiary colors, which are pretty much all the other colors in between, and those are created by mixing one of the complementary colors with one of the secondary colors. So I'm going to flip it to the other side, and this is super helpful. This part is pretty much for figuring out what different color harmonies we can create and what colors go well together. So first we have complementary, which are the two colors opposite ends from each other, and those are the colors that work really well together. You just remember that opposites attract. That's really the key. And split complementary is these two and this one, and triad is these two and this one, and tetrad is these four colors. So pretty much we can turn this around to find different color harmonies. So I'll let you guys experiment with this if you buy one. I totally recommend it. And now I'm going to jump into more terminology about the color wheel and different color harmonies. So let's begin. So first we have hue. Hue is kind of a funny one to explain, but pretty much on this wheel we all have different colors, right? But all these colors have different names. So pretty much the hue is what the name is of the color. So red is the hue and orange is a hue. So next we have saturation, and saturation is pretty much what a color is at its brightest state to its dullest state, and we can get a desaturated color by adding gray to it. So next is lightness, and lightness is shades and tints. So pretty much a shade is a color that gets darker and we are adding black to it, and tints is a lighter color and we are adding white to it. So that's how shades and tints work. And monochromatic is one of my favorites. Pretty much if we pick any of the color here, for example yellow, the hue, within this yellow we have different colors, and pretty much that's what monochromatic is. Each one has different shades and tints within it. And yeah, monochromatic is a really nice color scheme, I think. And complementary is pretty much, again, right, the opposite colors attract. So we've got yellow and purple, orange and blue, and green and red. And analogous is a bit of a weird one, but it's sort of like monochromatic. But we can remember it by knowing that it is the three colors adjacent to each other. So it's always going to be three side by side. And next. So I want to show you guys some bad color schemes that we can stay away from that are not working. So on the left here we have a poster that there's so much going on, really bright toxic green, so we don't want to do that. We got to be really careful with how we use green. And then the two other examples, there's just so much going on in these designs. There's a lot of complementary colors at the top one, and the bottom one is just really clashing with these colors. So we want to be careful, especially with green, remember that. But yeah, we want to make sure that we can get a good color harmony so it's pleasing to the eye. And next I want to show you some good color harmony. So here are some nice illustration examples, and the one on the left has really nice contrast with this royal blue and this nice pink color. And those are complementary, of course, but it's really drawing your eye into this design. And then the one on the right is like a nighttime scene, and it's very whimsical and fantasy-like and has a lot of nice colors, and it's pleasing to the eye. And next we have this photography example that has complementary colors of yellow and this turquoise kind of green color. And again, that's working really nice. And lastly, we have this design with nice earthy tones that are working well together. So we don't always have to use bright colors. We can use colors that are muted down, more within the family, and they can work well together. So now I want to talk about what can color symbolize, because I think this is the coolest part of all. So first, let's talk about red. Red can represent passion, it can represent love, but it also can represent violence and danger and adventure, and those are quite opposite things. But yeah, it's important to know what these colors mean when we're using them. And yellow represents creativity, it represents fun, optimism, and it's a really happy color. So yeah, that's what yellow means. And then next we have blue, and blue represents peace, authority, trust, fresh cleanliness, and sadness as well. And then we have green, and green represents growth, fertility, nature, wealth. And lastly, we have purple here, which represents passion, fantasy, luxury, and royalty. And so I'm just gonna end with this nice illustration at the end here to show these characters. We've probably all seen Inside Out, and it's really cool what this movie did, because not only are their names representing what their emotion is, but the color represents who they are. So we have joy, who's yellow, purple is fear, green is disgust, blue is sadness, and anger is red. And this movie is a really good example of how color can really evoke emotion. I hope you guys learned something new about color, and that color theory is really important in art, design, and real life. So thanks for listening. I'll see you soon.